administration to monitor the operation of lights and power supplies where AIS-8ON is co-located. And that particular data could be the basis for shipping to be able to be aware of the status of 8ON. Shipping already, of course, is receiving message 21, and it might be possible that some change in software would allow this to be displayed on the ship's bridge display systems. Most administrations are keen to monitor their AIS 8ONs for operation, to monitor all their 8ONs, AIS and visual, either for legal or for operational reasons or for both. And message 6 has been the main purpose for using that, but message 21 might offer a simple approach for authorities to monitor their 8ON and would keep down the load a little bit on the VDL. I think this will be an important use of AIS 8ON in the future. I'm not aware of very much development on the use of AIS for controlling 8ON, visual 8ONs or port signals, but it seems to me that this could be important in the future. We now have the possibility with the new messages that have been agreed in the latest ITU documents to have encrypted messages within the AIS system, and this might be a way of ensuring secure control of AIS 8ONs. Even possibly automatic switch on of visual 8ON by triggering by reception of a particular MMSI in the vicinity for the reasons you can see here on the screen. My own view is that broadcasting by AIS 8ON of environmental data, which includes tidal information, water height and weather information, is going to be perhaps the most important use of AIS 8ON in the future. I've mentioned there the work of the Coast Guard, US Coast Guard AIS Transmit Group, but you will know that there are many other groups involved. We heard earlier about the work done in Finland, and RTCM was also extensively involved in this, as were other people. But I think that the result, which we heard about also earlier this morning from Rolf Zetterberg, about the work done leading up to IMO NAV 55, I think that helps to set the scene now beautifully for the use of much more flexible meteorological, hydrological messages in the future. We now have the message tools now to be able to provide very useful information for the benefit of shipping. I noticed when Jerry showed us his map of Australia with AIS base station coverage, there were large areas there where we had no coverage, and we know that that's because they're, I guess, remote and sparsely populated areas where it's difficult and expensive to install stations. It might be that in those sort of regions throughout the world that a remotely sited AIS 8ON could be used with some specific program to gather data, perhaps not continuous data, but continual data, perhaps a snapshot every now and then, store that data and then send it back to some central monitoring center by AIS chaining, which is now possible, or by satellite or by some other means. This could, as well as extending the awareness of the authority, it might also help search and rescue capability in the event of an incident. I don't think I need to talk about this because it's been adequately covered already, but we now are starting to see a nice framework where IMO will, we expect soon, issue a new version of Safety of Navigation Circular 236, and the work that's being carried out in IALA will be a means for recording any other regional binary messages and encouraging standardization. IALA made good progress towards some rules for the use of virtual AIS-8 at the workshop that was held in February of this year, and I think this is again another possible application for AIS-8 on. We also heard about the use of this area message, and that was this morning in one of the earlier presentations, and I think that is an extremely valuable message for the future, and possibly much more important than for broadcasting virtual message 21s. Is it possible that the shipboard bridge equipment fit is really the impediment to the development of AIS capability and of e-navigation in general? It's certainly my particular view. And you will all know that when IMO writes new rules, it doesn't very often require retrofitting. There are cases where it does, but it might be that some ships today might continue to sail for a long time into the future with just an MKD on the bridge. I personally think that would be a pity. The existing IMO rules require that AIS targets, including AIS-8 are displayed on the radar, but there's no requirement yet for EGDIS to be linked to the AIS, although often it is done. The benefits for shipping industry from the deployment by authorities of AIS-8 on the broadcasting of information such as met hydro data will, I believe, be enhanced safety and improved efficiency of shipping. And if we have enhanced efficiency, improved efficiency of shipping, then that will I hope to develop more of a demand for AIS so that it might be user-driven a little bit more than regulation and rule-driven. So I would conclude with these 4 points. The met hydro data broadcast could well be the most important application of AIS-8 in the future. There's real potential for the new, let's call it NAV55 in inverted commas, binary messages. They offer some very great benefits for the future. I personally believe, although others may disagree with me, that message 21 broadcast by an AIS-8 will eventually displace Raycons. And finally, perhaps the most important point is that the speed with which ships upgrade their bridge display equipment will determine the benefits that the shipping industry will derive from the development of AIS and from e-navigation in general. Thank you, Chairman. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Michael. The last presentation of this session was given by Peter Mapson. He is president of ExactEarth, which is a part of ComDev in Canada. Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I guess my job is to work up your appetite for lunch. No problem. I only have about 50 slides to go through here, so let's see what we can do. Like happened earlier today, I am also here to talk to you about exciting developments in the area of satellite AIS, in terms of the technology and the implementation, and to talk somewhat on the range of applications, additional applications for AIS, and expansion of applications for AIS that this technology can create. First, ExactEarth is a company that has been set up for the sole purpose of developing, deploying, and operating a global satellite AIS detection service, and in particular to look at the approach where a very high quality detection technology is used, so that the goal here is for the system to be able to, for the satellite to be able to detect every ship, every time the satellite passes over from a Class A AIS message point of view. ExactEarth is, as the chairman mentioned, a subsidiary of ComDev. Now, many of you may not have heard of ComDev, but ComDev is a global space technology company